In this video, we're going to talk about Astro Pixel Processor. This particular version we're looking at is version 2 beta 4, which is the latest downloadable from the website. We use this application to calibrate, register, and integrate all of our subframes. By calibrate, we mean to remove dust, hot pixels, vignetting, etc. To register, we mean to align all the images on top of each other, and integrate then is just to stack all those images together to improve the signal to noise ratio. It's a cross-platform application that's available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. If you go to their website, it's at www.astropixelprocessor.com, and you have a couple of options here. There's a free 30-day trial. There's a renter's license, so you rent the software for a year, but after that year, the software will stop working, but you have the option to renew that license or to upgrade to an owner's license. Or straight off the bat, you can decide to get yourself an owner's license and you will get free software updates for life. Free as in it costs you €202, but it's a once-off payment. They also have a forum that you can go in and ask questions. With the download links here as well, the latest software. And there's a FAQ as well that's worth reading from people who have asked questions before, and there's typically very, very detailed responses from the developers. There's also some presentations and some video tutorials on the website as well that are worth looking at. If we go back to the application, I just want to give a very brief overview of the layout of the application. What you see is pretty much what you get with Astro Pixel Processor, which is nice, and it's very nicely laid out as well, I think. Over on the left-hand side here, we have all of our tabs for all of the parameters that we need to do our integration. We have a console here. You can typically ignore that. We've got an image viewer there in the middle. And we have all our stretching options here on the right-hand side. And then on the bottom, as we're loading our files are going to show up here. And then any intermediate files and the integration results will also show up down at the bottom here. And you'll see here we've got columns. So as we're going through, we're doing our star analysis, registration, normalization, etc. These columns are going to start getting filled out. So things like the number of stars, signal to noise ratio, full width, half max, etc., and the quality score will all show up, and all these columns will get populated as the application is running. So if we look up here on the left-hand side, we have an option to set our working directory. So this is the directory that you're going to save all of the temporary files, calibration frames, etc., and the integration results themselves. We're all going to get saved out to this working directory. And here we have all of the tabs. Typically, I think for a beginner, even intermediate and sometimes advanced users, the only two tabs you really need to know about are the load tab and the integration tab. There's maybe one, possibly two settings that you might change over the defaults, but by and large, the default options that you have here are more than good enough and will get you a great result. So if we have a look at the load tab, here we have some options that are by default turned on. So we have support for multiple channels and filters. So this is if you have a mono camera and you take separate images of red, green, blue, luminance, hydrogen, alpha, etc. You're going to enable this. So then when you load up your files, you can assign those files to particular filters. The multi-session support is if you're doing multiple nights, or maybe you've got some data from last year, that you worked on a target for last year and you did some red, green, blue, and you want to add in some hydrogen alpha this year. And it doesn't even have to be the same telescope. So this is one of the reasons why the software is great. It has nice support built in for doing multiple sessions over multiple nights and blending those together, but also supporting different optics. This is where you enter the name of your target, and then you're going to click on these buttons here to load up all your light frames, flats, darks, dark flats, biases, whatever you have. Or if you've got pre-built some master files, you can load those up here as well. So we can ignore the calibrate for the moment, the analyze stars, registration, normalization. If we go to the integration, We'll go to the top. This slider here is the only other change that I would make. So once you've added in all your light frames, you have the option of stacking some percentage of those light frames. The software will analyze all your frames, look at some combination of the number of stars, how the full width half max, and the shape, the eccentricity of those stars, and give each frame a score. And then we're going to sort those. And then in the integration tab, we can say we only want to take 90% of our best frames. So it's going to discard 10%. So if we had 30 light frames for a red filter, 3 of those, if we're taking 90% and we're discarding 10%, so 3 of those are going to get, the 3 worst frames are going to get discarded and not included in the integration, which is really nice as well. Go into integration, maybe select some percentage, maybe 90%, 95%, and then go down and click integrate. And then all of the default options, as I say, out of the box work great. 99% of the time, you don't need to change anything else, which I think is a great positive for Astro Pixel processor. That beginners, intermediates, and advanced users alike, you're going to get the same result. If you have if you do multiple sessions and it's over multiple nights, or even do mosaics is something we'll dig into a little deeper in the subsequent video. But Astro Pixel processor, I think, has the best support for mosaics. But even if you've taken some data from Astro and you want to add to it, I think Astro Pixel processor and how it groups the data and allows you to assign different sets of calibration frames to different sessions. And as I say, those sessions could be over multiple years. It's a great part of the tool, I think. So if we load up a file, just to have a look, we can go up to other processed here and load up a file that we've already processed. Let's take M33, the blue channel. You load that up, and this is the dialog it's going to prompt you with. If you have this multi-channel enabled, it'll say, assign this file to a channel. It's the blue channel. Click OK, and then multiple sessions. In this case, only one session. Then it appears in our grid at the bottom here. You can see all these columns here: number of stars, background, signal to noise, full width half max are not currently, there's no values in there for. But if we process this file as it's going through the analyze stars, registration, normalization, etc., it's populating all these fields, and you'll be able to see the quality score as well. And in terms of registration and which files it used to integrate and which files it discarded, you'll be able to see that as well. If we double click on this file, it will show up in our image viewer, and it's going to be pre-stretched depending on the parameters that we have here. You can stretch that more if you wanted. A little bit more, we have to see our kind of a light gradient here going across the image. And there are other tools here in Astro Pixel processor. Go into the tools section that we can use to post-process our integration frames. And for me, this remove light pollution tool, there'll be a dedicated video on that, because I think it's a fantastic tool, and I think by far the best light pollution removal tool across all of the applications, PixInsight included. I think the price of the application alone is worth it for this remove light pollution, because it's saved the day for me so many times. So that's kind of it. I just wanted to give a very brief overview of the application. It's, I think, a great step up for people that are coming from a free paid software like Deep Sky Stacker. Yes, you pay for it, but it's a decent step up. It's a dedicated software for processing. You can use Astro Pixel processor to process your image completely from start to end, and some people do that. Me, I typically just use it for integration, but this light pollution removal tool is absolutely fantastic as well. Then I jump into PixInsight typically. But for beginners starting out, I think this is a great step up. So I hope you enjoyed the video. In future videos, we're going to actually look at a very, very basic integration we'll load up some files and actually go through the full integration. We can see the results and we can see all these columns being populated as well. So thanks for watching.